there's a big difference between privacy and cybersecurity. One is something that's trying to be secured, the other is the methodology with which that happens.
This is Horizons, stories about what's next in the world, powered by Compass Data Centers.
I get asked by people all the time, so what? I don't have anything, I don't care. But that's actually not true. You have a lot of information at stake, and that information could be information pertaining to your kids. It could be somebody having access to enough information to create an entire credit profile on you and be able to steal that credit. And I have known people that have been in a situation that is that difficult, where driver's licenses have been taken out in their name, loans for houses in other states taken out in their name, and to try and fix that is really, really difficult. 90-something% of hacks are done through social engineering. And that means that's phishing. That's getting someone to do something that they wouldn't normally do. That's the easiest way in, and the lowest hanging fruit. And why not go for what's easiest? But what AI and what machine learning can do is it can very quickly piece together a profile on a person. For example, if you play music, it would be able to determine your location, what's around you, and maybe even have the knowledge that you go to a particular guitar store, and it would you would get an email from that guitar store looking very legit saying, we're having a sale on this awesome guitar, and you would click, and that's it. So they're very, very good at figuring these things out. And when you add AI, the algorithms to be able to parse this data much more quickly and then make sense of it, that's when it gets difficult. But the good guys are utilizing these technologies too. One of the great things about AI and machine learning is that it will have the ability to really learn and profile specific attackers and attack types, and make the decision whether or not to continue engaging and give that hacker fake credentials, or whether to stop them in their tracks, whether to notify someone. But it's not just going to be in our corporate security devices. We're going to start seeing that in our personal devices too. It is weird because I see the pendulum going back, and because for a while, now everything is centralized in kind of one location or in the cloud. But I think because there's going to be restrictions on some of these social media companies coming down, and also because I think people are getting frustrated with their information being owned like that, and they want other alternatives. And you're seeing it with Clubhouse, and you are going to see these kind of peer-to-peer networks that utilize everyone who's on the system's devices for processing power. I believe that there is a much more positive outcome that is available to us if we're willing to do the work to get there. And again, that's going to be collaboration, that's going to be utilizing new technologies, that's going to be taking the onus of securing the devices off of the individual user and making the machines like self-cleaning ovens, self-securing devices. And I do believe that the future is positive.
This is Horizons, stories about what's next in the world, powered by Compass